What up, though, y'all? It's Chris. Appreciate you connecting with me during these 10,000 dang on steps. But I really enjoy this. I do. I don't have a complaint about getting out here in my city and getting some exercise in for the day. Had that latte. So, it's even more imperative that I get these steps in today, man. But let's talk about the alpha widow. The alpha widow is a woman who there was a guy in her life that she had very high desire for, and she still pines for him. This is a guy that she wanted to be with, wanted a future with, obviously wanted to get married, wanted to have kids, all that sort of stuff. And she failed to lock him down. She was unsuccessful at retaining him. That guy is usually someone that she's always going to have a place in her heart for. And it doesn't matter how good of a guy you are to her, you will never, ever live up to this guy. It's funny because I think, Chad Ochocinco, he was talking about something similar to this recently when he was on Nightcap with Unc Shay. I think it was his grandma that told him that there's always going to be this one guy that has the key to the woman that he's with. And I found that to be very profound because this is grandma. She's an OG. And she even understands what an alpha widow is, even though she didn't have, the phrase for it, because that term came, after she was done on the market. She settled down. We get new terms for things over time. It may be something that had kind of like a description, but didn't actually have a term for it. So the term came after her time. But she still knew what an alpha widow was, and I thought that was amazing. So, again, it's a woman who failed to lock down the guy she truly desired, the guy who she really wanted. In many cases, and if no one else has ever broke this to you before, I'm sorry to be the one to have to open your eyes to this, but it's better me, opening your eyes to this than you just not know. Usually, you were not her first choice, all right? Usually, she's settling for you or some other guy who followed up behind the one she actually did want. The only way that that's not happening to you is if you're the one that she has high interest in, that she's chasing. There usually is a guy in every woman's life that she felt that way about. She felt so strongly about, she wanted him more than anything. And if you weren't that guy, then chances are you're not the one that she really wanted. You're the one that she's settling for. Now, what's wrong with dating a woman that has been alpha widowed? Well, you can never live up to the guy she really desires. As unfortunate as that is, you will never, ever, no matter what you do, live up to that guy who alpha widowed her. It's impossible for you to, because she loved that guy. She had all these plans for that guy, and whether it be he just couldn't get his act together, or he just was like, baby, you just ain't the one. I just don't look at you like that. Whatever the reason is, you're never going to live up to that guy because she still has feelings for him.
She texted someone saying that she was single.
And oftentimes, you're going to be made to pay for the fact that you're not him. And this isn't malicious. This isn't her doing it intentionally. She's not intentionally punishing you for not being that guy. But she will punish you for not being that guy. You'll find that she tends to get frustrated a lot more with things that are kind of small. You'll find that she's more disagreeable. You know, you'll find that she nitpicks a lot. Often, it's not really the thing that she's fussing about. That's the real issue. It's frustration over the fact that you're not him. So you must be mindful of this. And also, when a woman has been alpha widowed, there usually are like telltales. You know, the worst case scenario is when she's still pining for the guy to the degree that you are like super aware of it. Take Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. You know, she was alpha widowed by Tupac. And Will Smith was aware of this. He married her knowing that she still had these very strong feelings for Tupac. You skip forward to now, and he has very much, you know, suffered because of this. Like, she still talks about Pac. Pac been gone since 1996. This woman still talks about Tupac. This woman still gets emotional when Tupac comes up in a conversation. She will sit down doing an interview, and if Pac comes up, look at how her demeanor changes. Look at how her eyes light up. Look how she gets emotional over it. Like, that was who she really wanted. That was who she really desired. Will Smith, as amazing of a guy as he is, there is nothing that he can do that will possibly be able to compete with the guy who she really wanted. You know, because, like, think about now. Will Smith is worth, I think Google says he's worth like $400 million or something like that. Man, that's some serious bread. Tupac, I don't really know what he was worth, but when Pac died, he was not worth that type of bread. You know, and this is how you know it's really not about money, because he's far more successful today than Pac was when he died, and she still wants Pac more. She still talks about Pac. She will never ever view Will Smith the way she does Tupac. Here she is, married to this man. Let's have a seat here. Here she is, married to this man. Here she is, has this man's children. They've been together for decades, married for decades total. And here she is still talking about another man as passionately as she does. And he has been gone almost 30 years. So if that's not the best example that I can give for dating an alpha widow, I don't know what is. You know, I don't know what the ins and outs of their relationship are. What I do know is that if Pac would have wanted to marry her, he would have married her. And if Pac expressed desire to marry her, she would have agreed. But, you know, Pac, you could tell Pac was a bit of a player. You know, he was very successful, young, charismatic. A lot of women were into him. You know, the whole gangster rap thing. He was around at the right time, the 90s, for that. So he had a lot of women. That's a guy that was not trying to settle down then. And I mean, you know, who knows? If he would have married her, who's to say that he would have even been, you know, faithful? You know, we don't know that to be for sure, but just based on what we know about successful guys in hip hop and whatnot, they tend to keep some concubines even when they get married. But bottom line is, that's the guy who she really wanted. That's who she desired. She didn't end up with him because he seemingly wasn't ready to commit to something like that. Will Smith comes along. He's doing very well. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and whatnot. You know, his music career hadn't quite, you know, taken a downward turn yet. So he was still doing his thing with that. You know, just a very successful guy. And he seemed to genuinely love her. And he still does, honestly. Like, forget Dan, he still does. Will Smith, if we could keep it a buck, Will Smith seemingly loves that woman now just as much as he did early on. So here's a guy that would do anything for her. And no matter what he does, he's never going to be able to compete with a guy that's been gone for almost 30 years. And that's because that's the guy who she really wanted. She was alpha widowed by Tupac. So that's the dangers of dealing with a woman that's been alpha widowed. No matter how good you are to her, no matter what you do for her, you could get married, you could have kids, she don't have to work. Like, you can do all the things. You can give her all the things too that women say they want in a man and from a man, and you still will not measure up to that guy that she really wanted. So avoid the alpha widow at all costs. Beware the alpha widow. Let me know what you guys think about this topic, man. Thumbs up this video if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'm gonna get back to doing this walking. Talk to y'all later. Peace.